Good evening and welcome to Your Time to Shine, a radio show designed to help you explore your own divine gifts. Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in with me tonight on this Thursday evening, and I hope you are all doing well. I wanted to bring up a topic tonight, one that I've actually been working on in my own spirituality and my spiritual practices, and that is the chakra systems. Now, for some of you, this may be new. For some of you who have, either taken yoga or have done Reiki or taken Reiki classes even, you know about the 7 chakras that we have in our body. Of course, there's many other chakras in our body, but we tend to focus on the 7 main ones that run through the core of our body. And so I thought I would just give kind of a little inspiration, a little guidance on the chakra systems, because I don't think that people realize how much it actually influences our lives and what is going on in our physical world and our physical body, and how much the chakra systems can really play a part into that. So as I said, we have 7 chakras starting at the base, and they basically pretty much run up the spine, if you will. So from the lowest point, which would be at our pelvis, all the way to the top of our head. And the chakra system, and you ask, well, so what are chakras, right? Chakra, the name comes from Sanskrit, and it means energy disc. I believe that's what it is. Yes, energy disc. So we have these energy discs, or these energy centers, running through our body, and they actually they take care of all of our internal systems. They help us with emotion. They help us with our physical body and how we feel on a day-to-day basis. And so as you think about it, they turn counterclockwise. So if you think about them as a disc in your body. Now, chakras can be wide open, and they can be very, very closed. And sometimes it's really easy to tell if your chakra is closed, because you actually will start to have physical symptoms in your body that tell you. And if you are in tune enough with your body, you can figure those, you can kind of narrow them down as to what that might be that's going on with your physical and emotional life. So the 7 chakras, we have the one at the base, which is at the lower part of the spine, and that is our root chakra. And the root chakra has everything to do with our stability, our family, our relationships, everything that makes us feel safe and secure. That is our root chakra. The one right above it, which is right in between, which is just below your belly button, essentially, is the sacral chakra. That chakra has everything to do with your creativity and your sexuality. You go up one more level, which is kind of in the middle of your core, and that is your solar plexus. Now, the solar plexus really have a lot to do with standing in your own power, standing up for what you believe. And so those are what they call, those 3 chakras are in the lower half of the body, and they are the lower chakras. When you go up one more level, you get to the heart chakra, which again, that has everything to do with our love and our connection. It really is the bridge between what is the upper chakras, which we will get to, and the lower chakras. And it kind of is the bridge between all of those and connecting all of them. So the one that goes above the heart chakra is the throat chakra. And of course, that is as where you would expect. It's kind of in the middle of your throat, and it governs everything that we know about speech, expression, being able to express yourself verbally and communicatively. Then you go up one more and you have the third eye chakra, which is right in between your eyes. That has everything to do with intuition. And a lot of times, psychics, mediums, people who get downloads, they will see things in their third eye rather than with their physical eye. So if someone says, I'm seeing it with my third eye, that's what they mean. Then right above the third eye is the crown chakra. And the crown chakra is everything that governs spirituality. It is our connection to our higher self, to the divine, to God, to angels. And again, this is kind of the gateway to where mediums like myself and psychics or people who even read energy, this is where they get their information. Everything flows through their crown chakra into their body. So I said earlier that you can tell if one of these chakras is blocked. And how you can find that is a very common one is if you get sore throats a lot, or if you lose your voice. Essentially, that is your chakra that has shut down energetically, and it's affecting your speech. It's affecting your communication. It's saying, what is it that you need to speak about that you're holding back on? You would be amazed at what you stop and think about when you have a sore throat, and you ask yourself, what is it that I am not allowing myself to speak up about? So when you're having financial issues or you're having family problems, that's all based in your root chakra. That's the very first chakra at the bottom of your spine. And when there's problems with the root chakra, you'll see it in, you might have financial issues. You might be fighting with your family, your friends. That's all about, relationships. It's about security. It's about stability. If you are having lower back problems, which I have typically had in the past, that has everything to do with your root chakra. And so being able to open those up and help those is really helpful in alleviating some of those issues. I'm not going to go into tonight how you can do all of that. It might be something that we might touch on next week. But take a look at what it is that you might be feeling in your body. Another one is if you are having lung problems, maybe you are having asthma attacks, maybe you are having bronchitis. It's a good indication that your heart chakra is really shut down and closed down. So all of these things have different issues, and you can find out if you just stop and kind of ask, well, what is it that I'm not being loving about? Maybe you're just not loving yourself, right? Maybe you've shut your heart down and you've been hurt in a relationship and you've just shut your heart down. You could find yourself a lot with coughing and bronchial issues and that type of thing. It's an indication that maybe you need to start looking at how to work on that heart chakra. So in a spiritual practice such as the one that I do daily, chakra alignments, making sure that my chakras are open and flowing and moving is all part of my daily spiritual practices, and one that really helps me get along pretty well in life. Thank goodness, knock on wood. I really haven't been that sick recently. So that has been a really fantastic thing for me. So take a look at that, the 7 chakras. You can find all kinds of information online. And next week, we're going to take a look at each one of the chakras individually and talk about how those things can be opened up. How can you unplug those chakras and keep moving forward in your life? So check that out. All right. Right now, we are going to go to the phone lines. We have Trevor in Brooklyn, New York. Good evening, Trevor, and welcome to Your Time to Shine.
Hi, good evening. How are you doing?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
Not too bad. A lot of what you said, it really hit on point, especially the chakras.
Yes. Yes, they really affect what happens in our emotional body. Absolutely.
Yeah, because I want to ask you a question. All right, so recently I found out that I'm a star seed, and I don't know if you're aware of us, whatever, but still at the same time, there's a part of me that has a lot of light, but at the same time, there's a part of me that has some darkness. There's some things that happened to me when I was a child and, other things after that, military and whatever. And for some reason, even though I have a lot of love for people and God and whatnot, there's times where if I'm able to, take revenge on somebody or do something bad to someone as far as punishment, whatever, it feels good doing it. Why is that?
Mm-hmm. So one of the things that you have to realize is that with light comes dark. Dark doesn't always have to be a bad thing. Just because you see a shadow on the ground doesn't mean that that there is something bad. I'm being shown that you are a very bright light. You have a very soft soul, a very tender soul, and you want to be able to do the right thing in life. Hold on just a moment. So what I am picking up is that because you are such a bright light, that sometimes you will get attachments or entities grabbing onto you because they are actually looking for the light. They actually see you as the light, looking for a way to cross over. And so whenever
they're using me as a vessel.
In some ways, yes. And then they can kind of play on that. But what you can do is you can just ask, you can simply ask, who is this that I am feeling? And ask if it's yours. And then simply call in Archangel Michael. Okay, and ask them to remove this attachment and show them into the light.
Right, because how this all started, my mom passed away 6 years ago, and when I came back from the funeral, something happened, and then I was just led into sorcery, and for some reason, everything I was reading made sense. It's like I already knew half of what I was reading, and I still don't understand how that works, and I've been doing this for like 6 years. I'm able to heal and harm, but for some reason, I just take pride in, harming people who deserve it. I don't just do it for anybody, but if you deserve it, then I'm going to do it. And I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing.
I don't know that you should consider that a good or a bad thing. I think in the heart and the compassion of people, I think you are a person of compassion. I think that because you have to understand that you are still human. You are here to have a human experience. We are all light bodies. We are all energy, but we are here to have that human experience. And so what your guides are showing me is that it's not that you are wanting harm to somebody. It's just that you feel that there is a sense of, of divine justice, essentially.
Yeah, like a spiritual vigilante. That's what I refer to myself sometimes.
Right. They're showing me that you are being brought forth this information so that you may see your divine light, so that you may see it bigger and brighter.
Okay, why me?
They're also they're also showing me that you. Hang on just a minute. I'm trying to understand how they're explaining this to me. They're saying that you don't need to take this on yourself. You're taking on a lot of situations that really are not per se yours, but you see yourself as a protector, almost a protector of humanity, and that is a really amazing, awesome thing and an awesome gift. But they say that sometimes you get too involved in it when it really isn't meant for you. And so it's a time for you to kind of take a look at that and know when it's time for you to step back, know when it's time for you to hold somebody in compassion for what they're going through, because you never know exactly what their story is. And from our point of view, it may look completely different than what they're going through. And so they're asking you to just take a look at it as standing in compassion and holding space for those people. And that's how you can be their protector, more than trying to be that vigilante.
Yeah, because I'm a part of a few magic groups on Facebook, and a couple weeks ago there was this woman that was talking about she had some problem, whatever, and I just gave her a couple solutions, and then we started PMing each other, and then someone else got involved. There's two separate people, so I ended up helping one of them. And first she said she had like 5 people that were against her, then it ended up being 10. So I did something for her, and I felt like she had a lot going on, and she caused most of the problems. That's why a lot of stuff that I try to do is started backfiring on her. And because I told him, like, yo, you can't keep going back to these people that are hurting you and expect anything to work. And I don't know if that was a waste of my time, but I really wanted to help her.
Right. It's never a waste of your time when it's coming from your heart. And that's what your team is showing me, is that you are just such a compassionate person, and you will really want to help people. But you have to understand that there are some people who are in the open mind of receiving, and then there are some who are not able to receive at that time for whatever they might be going through, right? So what I'm getting is that person that you really wanted to help was really unable to receive what you were saying or receive what you were providing. And once you can understand that that you say, okay, well, I really have done my best with this person. I've tried. They're not at a space in their life where they can receive and be open to it. Send them love, send them compassion, send them, a prayer saying, I hope that in the future that you will be able to be open to receiving and seeing the situation from a different perspective.
Gotcha.
Because there's not always. Sometimes there are just ones that are just not ready to hear what we have to say. And that's okay. That's not a bad thing, right? They are here on this earth to do their own journeys, just like we are here to do our journey. And we have to be able to respect that. in each one of us. Whether we may not like the situation that they are in or that they are presenting, but there's only so much that you can do at that point.
Right, right. Yeah, because I don't know. It's like I really care for people, and there's times like I live in New York City, and there might be some people that are, selling candy or selling whatever, and I'll just give them money. I'm like, yo, I don't even want your product. I'm just doing this so I can help you out. Because what I do, I try to live a life where I always picture the Almighty smiling down on me. Anytime I mess up, that smile starts to turn to a frown. So that's the way that I try to live my life, to always please the Lord. And my friend was telling me the other day, the more you try not to sin, the more you might end up doing it. What do you think about that?
I actually just come from a place of love and compassion. I honestly don't know that we come to this earth to sin, so to speak. I just don't believe that. I believe that everybody comes from source, everybody comes from God, and we are placed on this earth to learn. And whatever that is that we take on as when we are incarnated, that is what we are here to learn. So I don't really necessarily see that as a sin. Now, I mean, I don't really want to get into a debate about,
of course,
what is sin? Yeah, what is sin? What is not? But I just know that, most people here are really here trying to do the very best and in the highest good for themselves and for others.
Yeah, and it seems like the more closer that I get to this light is like some people kind of distance themselves away from me, because I left Florida a few years ago. Even though I was born in Brooklyn, I was raised in Florida. That's where the accent comes from. But even since I came up here, my mama passed away, and I've been involved with this, magic, whatever. Some of my friends, they don't really want to deal with me anymore because they say it kind of creeps them out. And, it's like, well, you ain't the Trevor we know and all this other mess. I'm like, I'm a different person. What can I say? I still love you people. I just look different and do things.
Right. And, I will say that I've even had that in my own life. As I have shifted and changed in spirituality, and shifted and changed in the way that I see things and that I do things, there actually have been people that I've had to say goodbye to in my life. It's hard and it's very tough, but I know who I am and I stand in my power. I'm no different as a person today as I was, 3 years ago, other than I am growing in knowledge and compassion. And sometimes people are just not open and ready to see that yet. And that's essentially that's what you're going through right now. You're basically going through a spiritual awakening right now.
Again?
And there's a lot of people that are going through that shift. As we change, the earth is going through a vibrational change from, and we're going from a 3D energy to a 5D energy, where everything is, in the 3D world, everything is about material things and things that you can feel and tangible things, whereas the 5D is more on a spiritual level. And so people are starting to wake up to this and starting to understand this. And that's what you're doing. You're starting to go into this new energy and shift and change. And some people just aren't there yet.
Yeah, because this path, it's been pretty great, I can't really complain about it. I just wish there was some people close to me that were more accepting of it and, that they should understand that I only want to do the greater good. I was always a good person before this happened to me, and right. I don't know.
Right. Well, I will tell you that, even within my own family unit, there are things that I can't talk about. For instance, I can't talk about my mediumship because they aren't there yet. They are not, they don't understand it. For them, it might seem kind of weird or scary, or kind of woo-woo, whatever you want to call it. And so I honor that. And I just, we just do not talk about that aspect of it. And I'm able to maintain that relationship. Going down the road, will that shift or change? I don't know.
Yeah, because I've been like the black sheep in my family, almost my whole life. I'm the only one that got dreads. I'm the only musician, the only one that does this. And, I don't mind being a loner. I'm fine. I don't get lonely or anything like that. But with this life, it tends to get a little more worse. And then I have to, there's a liquor store right across the street from my house. You know what I'm saying? So I use that as like some type of measurement. I'm like, okay, you know what? I'm not going to get nothing big. I'm just going to get like a little nip or something for $1, because I know when stress happens, you want to do something to try and calm it down. So a lot of times I just, try to prevent myself from overindulging in things that might make the situation worse. You see what I'm saying?
Right. And you are getting a lot of information. You're getting a lot of information, from spirit and loved ones, because they can see that you're opening up to all of this. So, there are some things that you can research online to kind of help with that a little bit, putting boundaries in place and saying, that, I have to have my sleep. Do not interrupt my sleep at night. So putting healthy boundaries in place, they will understand that. So if you do that, but Trevor, we are coming down to the last 30 seconds of our show here, and
that's right. I didn't even want to take up too much of your time. This is my first time ever talking to y'all.
I'm so glad that you called in. It's been a fantastic conversation, and I hope that it's been helpful for you.
All right, not a problem. Thanks a lot, and blessed be now.
You too. Well, that does it for me, everyone. Thanks again for tuning in tonight. Catch me on my Facebook page at Julie YeagerWalker Medium, Your Time to Shine, or you can catch me over on my website at www.wingsofsoulswithjulie.com. Have a great evening, everyone.